In Weatherford, Oklahoma, danger always felt far away, until the night 16-year-old JaRay Wilson vanished.
It has been more than 2 weeks since anyone has seen JaRay Wilson. Police in Custer County fear the teen may be in danger.
One moment, she was a typical teenager. The next, she was gone without a trace. At first, some thought she had run away. Others feared something far darker: human trafficking.
Authorities say a teenage girl reported missing from Weatherford may have been sold into human trafficking.
Traffickers target the young, using drugs and fear to control them. And in those first desperate days, that seemed like the only answer.
It's an Oklahoma tragedy that's grabbing the attention of complete strangers from all across the country.
But the truth about JaRay's disappearance would prove even more shocking, something no one in this small town could have imagined.
I was thinking that he was a serial killer in the making.
I knew that there were bad people out there. I just didn't realize that they were so close.
I wish we could take it back, man. I really do.
I do too, bro.
In 2012, 16-year-old JaRay Wilson lived in the rural town of Weatherford, Oklahoma. Free-spirited and expressive, she stood out for her independence and confidence. She was unafraid to stand up for herself and had just entered a rebellious stage of teenage life. Friends described her as fearless and unapologetically herself, qualities that mirrored her father.
No fear, just speak her mind. Do whatever she wanted to do whenever she wanted to do it.
An only child, JaRay was deeply cherished by her parents.
JaRay and I were very close. She was my whole life. Everything in my life was her.
Her world revolved around music and art, and she quickly made friends wherever she went. At first, she was the one to welcome new kids and defend anyone being picked on, even if it meant getting into trouble herself. JaRay stayed closely connected to her mother through constant texting. Whether she was out with friends or just in the next room, she always kept her mom updated, sometimes even sending messages from her bedroom to the living room. Their steady stream of texts made them inseparable. Weatherford, Oklahoma, is a small rural town of just under 12,000 people, about an hour west of Oklahoma City. Life there is quiet and close-knit, where neighbors wave at one another, farmland stretches over rolling hills, and crime is nearly unheard of. In fact, in the last 100 years, only one homicide had ever been recorded within the town limits. The area's most infamous crime dates back to 1905, the unsolved murder of Cody James, remembered even today through a place called Dead Women Crossing. JaRay's father worked long stretches in the oil fields, often away for months at a time. Though he stayed in touch daily, the distance left its mark.
I worked my butt off so they could be comfortable. I worked an average of 320 days a year, so I was gone a lot. Missed out on a lot.
While JaRay grew up inseparable from her mother, teenage years brought rebellion. Her bedroom walls became a canvas of spray paint, Sharpie, and song lyrics, a testament to her free spirit. When her father finally returned after 9 months away, he immediately sensed something had changed. JaRay was no longer herself, secretive, distant, and unlike the girl he knew. Troubled, he made a life-altering decision. He quit his job to be closer to her. It was just before her 16th birthday. Shortly after turning 16, JaRay asked to spend the night with friends. The next day, she didn't come home. When calls to her friends yielded no answers, her parents contacted the Custer County Sheriff's Department. It soon became clear that JaRay drifted into trouble with drugs under the influence of older acquaintances. Her parents responded with strict rules: grounding, curfews, even drug testing. Even though the drug tests came back clean, their trust was already shattered. One Sunday, JaRay asked to go with a friend to church. Her father hesitated, reminding her the last time she'd gone out, she never came back and he had to call the police.
She started crying, and she said, "Dad, I don't want to lose your trust. I'll be home after church." So I let her go.
Sadly, it would turn out to be another lie. JaRay refused to come home unless there was no curfew.
She goes, "So I can't come home?" I said, "No, you can come home, but you're gonna have a curfew." She said, "Then I'm not coming home."
At just 16, she wanted full independence, often hiding her location to avoid being found. Still, each night she texted her parents, saying she loved them and wished she could come home. They reminded her she was welcome back, but only under their rules. The standoff continued for a week. The night before her disappearance, JaRay visited a friend. She was restless, checking locked doors and windows, and spoke of people she owed money to. Before leaving, she asked for clothes, packed a bag, and slipped out into the night without revealing where she was headed. Her friend thought little of it at the time. JaRay was always busy, always on the move. But JaRay never admitted to being in danger, and the warning signs went unnoticed.
She never confided in me that she was feeling unsafe or that people were maybe after her by any means. I mean, I wish I would have known.
16-year-old JaRay Wilson had been living away from home for a week, refusing to follow her parents' curfew. She was believed to be staying with friends and had been in constant contact with her parents via text, checking in, sharing her day, and exchanging nightly goodnights. But that Sunday night, on October 14th, 2012, the messages stopped. Monday passed with no word.
But every night I'd text her and tell her goodnight, and she would text back and say goodnight. She would text her dad and tell him goodnight until that Sunday night when she never texted us back.
Alarmed, her father reached out repeatedly, receiving no response.
And as of 7 o'clock on that Sunday night, I didn't get nothing. She never answered me back.
This sudden silence was unlike JaRay, who had never missed a day of communication. Her parents called the police, insisting something was wrong.
They said they would look into it, that she had prayed us run away and they'd find her. And I said, no, you don't understand. She had been in contact every single day and all of a sudden it just stopped. She's not a runaway. Something is wrong.
Unlike a typical runaway, JaRay had vanished mid-contact, prompting a missing persons report and widespread alerts, including social media. Her friends, too, noticed her silence. After she left one friend's house that night, she didn't respond to messages for days, leaving everyone increasingly uneasy. 2 days after JaRay vanished, authorities treated her disappearance as just another runaway case, but her parents, determined to find her, began their own search. JaRay's mother scoured social media, texted friends, and visited homes, using every contact she had to track her daughter. A friend reported seeing JaRay with 2 local boys, Cody Godfrey and Tucker McGee. On October 18th, Tucker called her mother, admitting he had been with JaRay on the 14th. He claimed he picked her up from a friend's house and dropped her at an apartment complex in Weatherford to wait for a ride.
I questioned him, why would she go there? She didn't know anybody there. Why would she go there? He said she wanted a ride to Mountain View, to the people's house that had got her messed up in drugs.
According to him, she had texted someone who was supposed to pick her up there. After the call, JaRay's mother immediately alerted the sheriff's department. Tucker confirmed to police that Cody had been with him that day and they had driven her around and left her at the apartments, never seeing her again.
The police checked the apartment complex. They knocked on doors, said no one had seen her, no one remembered seeing her there.
After more than a week with no word from JaRay, the state of Oklahoma joined the search. At the time JaRay disappeared, human trafficking cases were rising in Oklahoma.
We had reports that JaRay was missing and that she could be a human trafficking victim.
The Bureau of Narcotics had formed a human trafficking unit and joined the Custer County investigation.
Authorities say human trafficking may have played a role in her disappearance, but her mother does not want to believe that.
JaRay's case became the first handled by the unit in the state. Investigators obtained the last known surveillance footage showing her leaving a friend's house and visiting a local store in Hydro, trying to get a ride before being picked up.
She stayed in the store for about 25 minutes, I believe, and waited for someone, and someone picked her up. And we saw who that was, and we conducted some investigation on that, which ended up just being a ride to a friend's house.
The unit examined her phone records, interviewing everyone she had contacted in the 48 hours before her disappearance. Her mother's number appeared most frequently, reflecting their constant communication. High school friend Trey had what were believed to be the last texts from JaRay, indicating she was with Tucker McGee and Cody Godfrey and felt, quote, sketched out. Yet, her messages to her mother painted a different picture. She simply asked where her mom was and what she was doing, got the reply she was driving, and responded with a casual, sweet, a completely normal exchange that gave no hint of trouble. Cell data confirmed JaRay's last location near the University Park apartments, where the boys said they had dropped her off. While they had alibis and no evidence linked them to a crime, investigators kept them in mind as the last known people with JaRay. Investigators grew alarmed after learning that JaRay had mentioned a threat to some friends.
JaRay was dating this guy named Stefan, and he owed Gilberto Paz money.
Gilberto Paz was an alleged local drug dealer. Stefan was in jail at the time and never considered a suspect. According to a friend, Gilberto had threatened to hold JaRay until the debt was paid, and if it wasn't, he intended to sell her into human trafficking.
Sex trafficking and human trafficking, what they do to these kids, they torture them beyond belief. And the things they do to them, I couldn't even imagine if JaRay was going through something like that.
Almost 2 weeks into the search, authorities arrested Gilberto Paz on weapons charges and held him as a material witness.
Authorities have a person in custody in the case of a missing girl.
The 37-year-old was arrested today on a complaint of carrying a concealed weapon. Investigators believe the 37-year-old may have played a role in the kidnapping of JaRay Wilson.
Despite questioning, phone searches, and a polygraph, his timeline did not align with JaRay's disappearance. The lead fell apart, and Paz was cleared as a suspect, prompting investigators to focus on other potential leads. As in many cases, those closest to JaRay faced scrutiny. Her father, who owned a dirt park where he built jumps for motocross, was repeatedly questioned after a friend suggested to police that he might have killed JaRay and buried her beneath one of the jumps. Meanwhile, her parents followed every tip about her being held in different towns, most proving false. Convinced JaRay was not a runaway, they contacted the Center for Missing and Exploited Children and local media to spread awareness.
It's been 3 months since Weatherford teenager JaRay Wilson has gone missing, and so far investigators are tight-lipped about any progress in the search.
Months passed with little progress. The community of Weatherford rallied, hanging flyers, holding monthly candle vigils, releasing balloons with JaRay's picture, and distributing t-shirts to keep her image visible. Strangers from other towns also helped search and spread information. Her parents searched tirelessly, pulling off the road to check old barns, cellars, and abandoned houses. They even chased tips with psychics who insisted JaRay was hidden in a railroad car, leading her father to climb through countless cars in the hope of finding her.
I can't tell you how many railroad cars I went through. If you're a parent that cares, you don't ever give up.
One evening, Rodney Wilson saw a chilling Facebook message claiming to be from JaRay's killer. The anonymous post, sent from a new account, was later traced to a teenager in Rodney's hometown of Hobart, Oklahoma, but proved to be a hoax. Months of leads had mostly gone nowhere, with promising tips turning into dead ends. By 14 months after JaRay's disappearance, hope was fading. To preserve evidence, a grand jury was convened, and the first witnesses were Cody Godfrey and Tucker McGee, the last known people with JaRay. They were subpoenaed and required to undergo polygraphs. During the test, Cody suddenly changed course. Overwhelmed, he confessed to the polygrapher that he knew the killer.
He said that he was there present and also helped move JaRay's body into the woods.
The revelation shocked everyone and raised the question, would the Wilsons finally learn their daughter's fate?
JaRay Wilson, our big story this morning, a possible break in the case.
Cody's confession shook investigators. He recounted how Tucker McGee picked him up and mentioned that JaRay needed a ride. Tucker pulled out a gun, joking about killing her, and Cody initially didn't think he would actually use it. They drove to a wooded area north of Weatherford, known as a party field, a local teen hangout for bonfires and keg parties. Under the influence of synthetic marijuana, which can trigger paranoia and hallucinations, Tucker's mood darkened. When JaRay asked for someone to pick her up, he pulled out a gun. Cody, panicked and terrified, retreated to the vehicle, just in time to hear a shot ring out and see JaRay fall. When he returned moments later, she was still alive, lying on the ground and moaning. Tucker, standing over her, seemed frustrated she wasn't dead, then fired a second shot into her face before dragging her body with Cody over a fence and into the woods. The following day, Tucker involved a friend, Caleb McLemore, to help bury the body. They also found and destroyed JaRay's phone, throwing it into a creek. With Cody's confession in hand, investigators brought him to the woods to pinpoint the burial site. The area he described overlapped with the University Park Apartments cell tower, which had previously supported the boys' alibis. Cody could only narrow it down to a rough 25-yard stretch, a daunting expanse of brush, trees, and fields. As officers walked the terrain with him, hope felt slim. The sunlight caught on a glinting object among the leaves. It was a skull.
I mean, when something, the divine intervention, when this ray shining just perfectly on the skull, just to kind of say, hey, here I am, come find me. So it kind of gave you chills just thinking about that.
Cody's story was no longer speculation. The remains of JaRay Wilson had finally been found. On December 17, 2013, the Wilsons were told the news they had feared from the beginning. JaRay had been found. Her mother recalls holding on to hope until the very end, still waiting by the door, wishing investigators were wrong.
I knew what I was getting ready to hear.
The discovery was devastating. JaRay had been buried face down in a shallow grave, found only when sunlight caught the ground above her. For friends and family, the grief was overwhelming. Her bedroom had remained untouched since 2012, with her clothes, drawings, and notes still in place. For her father, passing by that door each day is a constant reminder. He still speaks to her, telling her he misses her. Soon after JaRay's remains were recovered, investigators turned to Caleb McLemore, the boy who had helped conceal the crime for 14 months. At first, he dodged questions, sipping from a Sobe energy drink. Then he glanced at the message under the cap, tossed it aside, and broke. Caleb confessed. Tucker McGee had shot JaRay, buried her, and boasted about it. The words on the cap were chilling.
Brian said he picked it up and he looked at it, and it says, "Everybody knows."
Everybody knows.
With Caleb and Cody's accounts aligned, police focused on Tucker. To secure confirmation, Cody agreed to call him on a recorded line. During the conversation, Cody pressed Tucker about the murder weapon.
You did get rid of that gun, right? Like it's gone. For sure, they're never gonna find it. I wish we could take it back, man, I really do.
I do too, bro.
That was enough. Investigators moved in and arrested him for JaRay Wilson's murder. For the community, the shock was profound. Friends remembered smiling with Tucker at parties, never suspecting. Her father recalled Tucker and the others handing out flyers. Cody Godfrey and Caleb McLemore were soon arrested for their roles in the cover-up. In early 2015, Cody cut a deal, pleading guilty to accessory after the fact. In exchange for testifying, he avoided prison and walked away with 7 years probation. Caleb wasn't as fortunate. He pled guilty and received a 25-year sentence, serving 3 before parole with strict probation ahead. In March 2025, Tucker McGee faced trial.
During the whole trial, didn't look like there was any remorse, anything at all. Neither one of the other defendants knew why Tucker would do this.
Friends testified that without the influence of K2, synthetic marijuana, JaRay might still be alive, but no real motive ever surfaced. In Tucker's room, investigators had found posters of Dexter, the fictional serial killer, raising chilling questions about whether this had been the start of something darker. After just 2 hours of deliberation, the jury returned a verdict: guilty. Tucker was sentenced to life without parole for the murder of 16-year-old JaRay Wilson. But the case didn't end there. On appeal, the Supreme Court ruled minors could not automatically receive life without parole. Tucker's sentence shifted to life with the possibility of release. 10 days shy of his 18th birthday, he had narrowly escaped the death penalty. He will be eligible for parole at 53. Her mother has only one hope: that he never walks free.
I honestly have no idea why Tucker did what he did. I think he just wanted to see what it felt like to kill someone, to take someone's life.
The tragedy splintered the family. Rodney and Jere's marriage didn't survive, though both parents stayed united in keeping JaRay's legacy alive.
It's rough to lose a child. There's good days, there's bad days. There's times when you can't take it anymore.
Yet some good came from JaRay's death. Investigators cleared Gilberto Paz in her case, but tied him to an unrelated murder in Cleveland County, securing convictions there. 2 teenage girls were rescued from human trafficking because of tips connected to the JaRay investigation. Even in death, she saved lives. Her father made sure she would never be buried again. He built a private mortuary on his property where JaRay was laid to rest. Inside, he could talk to her, scream, or simply sit. His vault waited at the back, her mother's at the front, and JaRay's in the middle.
All 3 of us will be together at some point. Again.
People will always remember JaRay Wilson, not only for the vibrant life she lived, but for the tragedy that ended it. Her death and the choices of 3 young men left families shattered and a community forever changed. Crimes like this do not fade. They leave wounds that never fully heal.